Hello and welcome to this session of the ladder, a love letter to my sisters in the pew. This is one of 18 sessions that I'm sharing. It's for anybody who self-identifies with this topic, but the goal is to get it into the hands of my sisters in the pew. As I've shared before, I didn't feel like that knowledge was there. I was not hearing it in church. And so, yeah, that's what this is about. This is from my book, A Love Letter to My Sisters in the Pew, that is available on Amazon for $9.99 and on Kindle for 99 cents. If that is accessible to you, that'd be awesome. If not, I'm hoping that I can get the information streamed to you this way. So I'll go ahead and get started. This is number 9, and it's entitled, He's Confusing Because He's Inconsistent. So I'll start with a little bit of my story. It is on page 10 if you're following along. If you're not, I will read it. Okay. This is a little bit of a hard share for me. My husband called me his wench and his little woman, neither of which I appreciated. When I complained, he would say, "Lighten up." Other times his language was much worse. He would call me stupid. He would tell me what a terrible wife I was, what a terrible mother I was, and that he should have never married me. I would tell myself that he was wrong, that he was having a bad day, but doubts would creep in, and after years of harsh words, my strength was fading. Things continued to look normal from the outside. We did things other families did. He had a full-time job. He cut the grass and took out the trash. I did the laundry and cooked meals. We went to yard sales. We bought ice cream cones on the way home. He often told me he loved me. For Valentine's Day, I would get a big heart-shaped box of chocolates and roses. His communication was chaotic. At times, he would seem to agree with me about some issue, and we would seem to be making some improvements. But most of the time, he would talk in circles. He had an uncanny ability to twist my words, and I would continually lose my train of thought. The conversation would often end with me not doing what I needed to do. I felt stupid and helpless. Eventually, it would end with me in tears, which would make him angrier. He would say, "This always happens and things never get better." So eventually, I knew better than to have these conversations at all. So, good times and bad times. Sounds like pretty bad times, but there was times that he seemed to be doing good and wanted to do better. Confusing. The next section is page 25. And this is just entitled, It's Confusing Because at Times He Seems to Be Two Different People. Those who study these abusive patterns, and I want to stop there because I found it fascinating when I left and really started doing work on this topic, is that they seem to, these types of men, whatever you want to call them, abusive, ill-willed, they seem to all follow the same playbook, which is fascinating and terrifying at the same time. But those who study these abusive patterns say he will eventually batter her for weeks, reinforcing the patterns of humiliation and worthlessness he has established. And it doesn't have to be a physical batter. It can just be words or emotional abuse, psychological. Reinforcing the patterns of humiliation and worthlessness he has established. And then suddenly, for no reason, he will switch. He will come home one night with flowers and take her to dinner to a nice restaurant. Since she hardly dares to talk or smile, he chides her gently. "Come on, aren't we having fun?" And she begins to think maybe we are. Or a Christian woman may think her prayers have been answered, or that God has healed him. Then, with no provocation, he screams at her, reestablishing the same old patterns of abuse. Now she is confused. Why was he suddenly so good to her? What has she done to make him mad again? Her husband continues to play the good guy, bad guy role in this way with no logic, no reason for his sudden kindness, and no reason for his revision to abuse. With neither change attainable to her actions, with neither change attributable to her actions, there exists no cause for the effect. With neither change attributable to her actions, there exists no cause for the effect. So no matter what she does, she doesn't seem to be able to bring about change. So she lives with it. The next section is page 35. If you're wondering if I'm out of my comfort zone, I am. Okay, so I don't think this is where I was going to be. Oh yeah, that's right. So I wrote, it's actually up here. Years into my marriage, I even knew that it was sequential. So sequential. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but in a circle is the cycle. My journal entry from this time reads, I feel like I jumped through hoops and he seems to be happy, but eventually he falls back into the same patterns. So I recognized back then, so I'm identifying this happy, angry cycle of the abuser. I knew it existed, but I didn't know how to fix it. But I found it fascinating that I knew it existed. And I'm going to go back into page 15 where I talk about that. This is actually the quote from that time. It says, I feel like I jumped through hoops and he seems to be happy, but eventually falls back into the same patterns. And so, again, it's exactly what I knew was happening. So there's two things here. One, the cycle exists, the happy, angry cycle. It exists. You're not going crazy, it exists. And then the second thing that I think is important to talk about is who's the real person. Because it's easy to think, I'm missing the real person. I know back in the day he was very kind and he was generous, and this person that I'm now with isn't the real person. But I want to look at this verse. It's just a tiny bit of Proverbs 31:30 that just says charm is deceptive. That's the first little bit. And the word charm actually means engaging personality used to manipulate others. So I think the second important piece of it is, who is the real person? Was the behavior that he was displaying early on just part of a charm that was deceptive, that is a part of how he is trying to manipulate you? So that's what today is about. That's the challenging piece, is to recognize there is a cycle. And I guess for you to answer, is it deceptive? Who is the real you? Who is the real person? So anyways, that's it for today. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.